Do you guys know what is Australian English accent? Well, let's discover about it together.
G'day, mate. Oh, no.
So,
Hello. Let's go. Come here, bro.
actually, no. So many people say that I speak like this, like hello. It's like I have an shows, and we can never go. But I used a snow outfit.
History of Australian accents. It was a result of British colonialism in Australia, which occurred from 1788 until 1901. The British first colonized Australia in order to establish a penal colony, which was placing prisoners in a remote area away from others. This means that Australian English was heavily influenced by regional dialects of British and Irish. Due to the British and Irish settlers who migrated to Australia during the late 70s. Australian English was first spoken in the late 70s and early 80s by native-born colonists in the colony of New South Wales. Australian English has also been influenced by American English features, which is mostly due to pop culture influences such as television and movies. And over time, Australian English has evolved and now contains its own distinct features. Definition of Australian English accents is a variety of English native to Australia and is often considered to be a mixture of standard British English and standard American English, as it shares features with both varieties. The most well-known Australian English accents is General Australian accents, and around 70% of Australians speak English as first language. General Australian accents is an accent regarded as the standard Australian accents. It's the most commonly used Australian accent and is also more frequently used in the media such as on television and radio. It's mainly spoken in urban areas such as cities. General Australian English is similar to standard British English in that it does not necessarily give away much about person's geographic, location or socio-economic background.
So for the consonants, speakers of Australian English share the same consonant as speakers of General American and British English. It's how Australian native speakers use the consonants that counts. Here are a few rules that characterize Australian accents inflections. Firstly, Australian English is non-rhotic. It means the R sound will never occur at the end of words. For example, an American will say 3 separate sounds for the word car, but an Australian native speaker will only say 2. Car. This is a key feature that only occasionally has exceptions. However, sometimes native speakers will pronounce the R sound at the end of the word if linking 2 words closely, but only if the next word contains a vowel sound at the start. For example, the words far more do not contain an R sound, but far out will contain the linking R sound because the next word starts with a vowel sound. Australian English also insert an R sound when linking 2 words when 2 vowel sounds occur consecutively. We call this intrusive R. As a result, you may be able to hear the R sound even though there is no R letter present. For example, drawing will sound like drawing, saw it as saw it.
But Australian accents are non-rhotic, so that means that we only pronounce an R when the word is followed by a vowel. So if I say over the river, you can hear it's just over the river. But as soon as the next word has a vowel at the front, then an R sound is pronounced. So if I make the phrase overrun the river, you can hear I'm saying overrun the river. And if you think that's trippy, we do this other thing in Australian accents called intrusive R, and that's when we add an R sound when a word isn't even spelt with an R in the first place. It usually happens on words that are spelt with AW, like saw or draw. And I might say, I saw that, or draw this, but as soon as I say I saw it, or drawing, and the next sound is a vowel, you can hear that little sneaky R intrude.
The second characteristic is yard dropping. When an Australian native speaker pronounces words that often contain a consonant letter plus U, like music and newt, they will insert a yard. A yard refers to the phonetic sound y, which you hear at the start of words like yes, yellow, you. However, Australian English usually coalesces tu and tu into ch and zh, respectively. Because of this palatalization, Dune is pronounced as June, Tuesday is pronounced as Tuesday.
The third characteristic of consonant is pronunciation of the sound. First part is the deletions. Australian speakers are likely to delete the th sounds at the end of words, just like speakers with an American accent. When the th sound is deleted, a glottal stop is inserted in its place. Glottal stop is formed deep in the voice box with air pressure. It can cause voice inflammation or just sound weird if pronounced it incorrectly. It usually happens in words and at the end of words when it preceded by an and. For example, stuntman from the word stuntman, band from the word band, can't, aren't, isn't, he isn't coming. Next one is the flapping. It is when you soften the sounds of the in the middle of words or at the end of words between the vowels. When the th sound is flapped, it will sound a lot more like a soft the sound. For example, matter, it will be as matter. Pronouncing T as a glottal stop is common in other English dialect as well, but happens more when there's a double T in the middle of a word, as in matter rather than at the end. Other example is letter as leather. When native speakers flap the T, it usually results in a vowel change at the end of the word.
So next, I'm going to talk about vowel. Australian English often use long vowel sounds like Standard British, but typically longer, meaning they are pronounced for a long duration. This often means that one syllable words can be lengthened to two syllables. For example, IE in near is pronounced more like near instead of near. To non-native speakers, this may sound quite exaggerated. So for the first vowel is long O sound. Long O sound in Australian English have a quite unique sound and now has become somewhat of a meme on the internet. The Australian O sounds like a mixture between an R and A with a hint of R. For example, the word no sounds more like nar. So I have a video that show you the better pronunciation of the word no. Hope you hear it correctly.
It's basically a very whiny combination of the word no and nah. And the most important part, it needs to have a considerable inflection in the sound. You basically have to turn it into two syllables. It also needs to be said with passion. No, 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 I don't know. Even if you're saying it quickly, it still has the meh, see?
Hello everyone, so I'm going to proceed with the vowel of long I sound. The long I in words such as night and fine sound more like a softer oi sound. So basically, the diphthong oi is formed from three sounds, which is o, e, e. So when you combine these three, it will sound like oi. So for example, a night, it will be noit in Australia. Fine, it will be foin. Mine will be moin. Slide will be sloy. Time will be time. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Next, I will explain the difference of vowel A in Aussie English and in received pronunciation, or as we call the British pronunciation. The vowel A in Aussie English is a little bit similar, which is in the British English pronunciation. Although A in Aussie English tends to be higher than the corresponding vowel in received pronunciation. According to John Wells, this typical realization is close mid A, although for some speakers it might be even closer A, in which this pronunciation can occur only in broad Australian varieties. For some Victorian speakers, A has merged with A in pre-lateral environments, and thus the words celery and salary are homophonous as salary. Next, I will show a video of how to pronounce vowels A in Australian English.
A, bed, head, set, X,